Howdy, boys and girls, and welcome to the second week, which is actually the third week, the week number 2 of the 2024 college football season. I'm gonna have a problem with numbers again tonight. I can feel it. We've gotten off to a killer start, unless you live in the state of Florida. But we're going to get to that in a minute. Carla,
Yes,
you were going to do all kinds of stuff at the middle game last week, and I see you still have the Beat Tech button on.
I
And
do.
have you dried off by now?
Yeah, right. For those of you that don't know, so Coach Mason's home opener,
Mhm.
first game as head coach at Middle Tennessee. Well, first of all, let me start with like the afternoon. The party that they threw in the Grove is
Mhm.
now super fun.
Okay.
I was there for most of the afternoon. A lot of really cool family-friendly stuff, bounce houses, face painting. Remember airbrushing? Like you
Yes.
could get
Yeah.
airbrushed
Yes.
hats, which
Uh-huh.
was really fun.
Can you get
Um,
like an airbrush shirt that just says me and my BFF? Is that a thing that they still do?
maybe I don't know.
Okay.
Everybody that I was with
I'm
like
just
got
checking.
got airbrushed like trucker hats that had MTSU on it, which were really cool. And I
Nice.
was kind of jealous I didn't get over
Okay.
there to get one.
Okay.
So it was a lot of fun,
Yeah.
and got to see Coach Mason's first Raider walk.
Hmm.
Which is a thing. Was right up on the sidewalk for that. That was really awesome. The momentum was really, really good. And we went into the stadium and immediately got a clap of thunder and a severe weather delay. And that severe weather delay went on for 2.5 hours because it kept raining and raining and raining and dare I say monsooning. There was at one point we couldn't even see the other side of the field. That's how hard it
Hmm.
was raining. And it was just one of those fluke things that the only place in Middle Tennessee where it was raining was directly over Floyd Stadium. And I'm not even joking.
Hmm.
If you looked at the radar, there was just this big red blob over Floyd Stadium. It just happened that like storms collided and the whole bit. So we had some fun hanging out in the College of Media Entertainment box while we were waiting out and hoping that we'd stop hearing thunder so that the clock wouldn't restart.
Hmm.
But I'll be honest, after an hour and 45 minutes of a rain delay and a torrential downpour, we gave up
Yeah.
and we left. Kudos to our Bowlapalooza colleague Jake Rose, who was on the call for that game and ended up finishing the game after midnight Central.
Yes.
I think that officially qualifies as Middle Tennessee played an after dark game.
It,
I
it
think
totally did. It totally did.
As the After Dark correspondent, I will grant that.
yes,
Ding.
thank you. Because that game ended at 12:30, I think. And
With
kudos to
a
Jake
classic call by Jake,
with a
by the way.
classic call by Jake Rose, and kudos to him for staying awake that long because
Yeah.
he'd been in production meetings since 2 in the afternoon, right? So
Hmm.
that's like a 10+ hour day to make that call after sitting and twiddling his thumbs for 2.5 hours. Heck, we were texting each other during the rain delay because we didn't have anything else to do.
Right.
And
Except
so yeah, so there was a lot of really good, cool things.
nice.
Middle gets the win. I'll mention them again at the end of the show because
Yeah.
this could be interesting this week. But it had all the potential, and we were talking Tennessee Tech and Middle Tennessee are longtime rivals.
Hmm.
Tech brought their band. They had a huge fan base there. It had the potential to be a really incredible atmosphere, and it just really kind of sucks that it got ruined by
Yeah.
rain. I mean, a bunch of people stayed, which is great. Kudos to them. I'm old, couldn't do it. But I hope they play this game again,
Hmm.
so that we get an opportunity to really revive the rivalry, especially with the way this game ended, with Middle having to pull a rabbit out of a hat to win with 15 seconds left. So yeah, it was a good day, but a frustrating day, and I
Okay.
was really wet, and
Yeah. Okay. Okay.
happy college football.
Woo! I just
Woo!
I was cozy and dry and in front of my TV pretty much all the whole day. And even stayed up to watch the end of the early night games. Not the I didn't. I figured if Hawaii was over by that, then it was okay for me to go to bed because that's probably going to be the one and only time this season that's going to happen. AJ, you got to see your beloved Rainbows in prime time.
I did. I watched that entire game,
Mhm.
and it's been a long time,
Mhm.
like a very long time, since I've given that much care
Mhm.
and emotional feelings into a college football game.
Okay.
Like I watch a lot of football as a
Mhm.
like a purely neutral observer, and by and large, I will always cheer for the underdog or chaos or whatever the funniest outcome would be.
Yeah.
This was the first time in a very long time where I was like, "Ooh," like I like, "Oh, God, Dad," and I hadn't had that feeling in a while,
Yeah.
and I was like, "Oh, right, this is why I have to watch as a neutral observer. Or I'm going to make loud noises in my house." And thankfully, this was not a midnight game. This was a 7:30 p.m.
Yeah.
Eastern game. So I got away with that. But a true delight. The announcers from
Mhm.
CBS,
Mhm.
I can't remember, I'm blanking on his name now. The guy who was the play-by-play announcer
Right.
was just absolutely crushing Hawaiian and Polynesian names. Like he was hitting every
Yes.
syllable, and we
Yes.
loved him for that. UCLA looked terrible, and I
Mhm.
really thought Hawaii was going to pull off the dumbest thing ever at a game I wanted to go to and almost went to. Um, and then it failed at the end, and I was sad after that. And then I got to watch Arizona and Arizona State play football. It was fine. Um, but yeah, this is the thing that I appreciate though, is
Yes.
that I still remember that like, oh right, there's a bunch of football that's going to happen, especially in like week 1 and week 2,
Mhm.
where like you don't need to watch that hard. It's
No.
okay.
No.
Like Alabama's playing Western Kentucky. We'll talk about Western Kentucky in a moment, but they're playing Western Kentucky and they're winning like 63 nothing. Sure.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
Right.
I don't need to watch that game. My
Mhm.
my children and I are going to go on a delightful trip to Target. And we're going to buy a vacuum cleaner. It'll be fine. So, a completely true thing that happened.
Uh,
Crappy. How
yeah.
was your Saturday?
My Saturday was fantastic. As I said, I just I wanted to watch football pretty much all day, and so I seated basically in front of the television for 12 hours, including preseason pregame shows. Um, and two TVs, and I was super pleased. This is the part of the show where we would normally kind of look back at stuff, and I'm going to just go ahead and jump in real quick, um, because I got to watch Ohio State. Um, I was pleased. Defense looks fantastic. 3 takeaways, 2 that went for scores, 5 sacks. The defense had problems in both of those areas last year, so that's improvement. Jeremiah Smith, wow, the kid's going to be amazing. Will Howard looked more comfortable and locked in than Kyle McCord ever did last season at Ohio State. Running game was a little iffy, but that's a fully retooled offensive line that was missing one starter. We'll do that. I think that's we've got there are a couple games before we get into the conference schedule that will give the offensive line some time to come together.
It
I'm
was
not
nice that you
sure.
got to see your favorite team on national television.
I
It
did.
doesn't
I was
happen
pleased.
often.
It's not very often now.
No.
I did get to watch my Ohio University Bobcats on national television. Well, it was the ACC network, so I guess that's national. Um, I'm not sure. I can't figure out OU yet. They hung with Syracuse into the third quarter, but in the end did not have enough to keep up. I'm not sure. I think OU has enough to be annoying in the MAC. I don't think a 10-win season for the third year in a row is going to be possible. Just random thoughts. Uh, Georgia looked fantastic. The ACC sucks more than its usual level of suckiness. Notre Dame passed its biggest test of the season.
So
Um,
what you're saying is one ACC team did well this weekend. Got it.
one, and we're
Just
gonna
the
get
one.
we're gonna get to that. Um, and Michigan, Carla, if you have two quarterbacks,
You don't have any.
you don't have any quarterbacks. I don't know. I don't. It maybe it was that. Maybe it's like it's hard to win football games if you don't know the other team's signals or something. I'm not sure what the problem was, but they they uh they let Fresno State hang around for longer than they should have. Carla, other than your game day experience,
Yes.
what did you what stood out for you from last weekend?
So let's do the good stuff first.
Yeah,
I would like to raise a beer or raise a beverage
beverage.
to our Vanderbilt Commodores.
Yes.
Hell
Um,
yeah.
for a a hell of a win over Virginia Tech.
Mhm.
And that was one of those games that you when Vandy missed the field goal at the end of regulation, you all just like we all just kind of groaned and went, "Oh, Vandy. Oh, Vandy."
Oh, yeah.
And then they won it in overtime. So kudos to them. Kudos to Clark Lee. Kudos to AJ. Help me,
Diego Pavia, the
Diego. That's his
legend
name.
continues.
The legend
Hugh,
continues.
look at me, Hugh. Look at me, Hugh. He's coming.
hmm It's going to happen. It's
Oh my
absolutely
God.
100% going to happen.
Listen, I don't know
We
what
can will this. We can will this to happen.
I don't want to know what happened in a past life, in this life, or whatever that made Diego Pavia and Jerry Kill go full John Wick on Hugh Freeze. But I love you for it. I love both of you wonderful human beings for this. Because Diego Pavia was trucking humans again. He's going to keep doing it. He will not stop.
Yeah, it's
man.
Vandy's going to be fun this year. And are they actually, can we get a bowl eligible Vandy? That would be awesome.
That's like this is what I love about college football is that like in the NFL, it's like you make the playoffs or you don't, and that defines your season or whatever. Here in college football, you make the playoffs, and that's a big deal, and you're playing for a national championship. But like for other teams, it's like Vandy, make a bowl. Just make a bowl. We're not asking for a lot. Win 6 games. Play in your hometown. They'll put you in the Music City Bowl. Guaranteed.
Yes, they will.
Hell yeah, they will.
Just make a bowl, and I think a lot of people would just be happy with that as a season, and that's great.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, it absolutely is.
Okay, so other thoughts other than Vandy, which was awesome. Okay, obviously I was Penn State played really well in Morgantown. I was very pleased with that effort, and that was a game that could have gone off the rails because they had the same problem that we had at Middle, which was a stupid long rain delay, right?
Yep.
And that you never know how that's going to impact the team, particularly when it happens at a clean break like the half, right? The reason why Penn State won that football game and it didn't go off the rails after the long rain delay is because they punched it in right before halftime. More, West Virginia went down, kicked the field goal, got back into it, got the fans back into it, started to build momentum. Penn State gets the ball back with a $1:15 left in the half, and punches it in. And that was the gut punch, right? Had West Virginia gone into the half with the momentum, that could have gone completely awry, I think.
Yeah,
for Penn State, and the fact that they were able to punch that in, huge. Closed the door. It was a solid win all the way around, and what you needed to really kind of solidify that top 10 ranking heading into a cupcake week this week against Bowling Green. Let's see other things. Texas Tech, whoopsie.
Oops.
Can't let Abilene Christian hang around like that.
We'll get to Texas Tech in their week 2 adventures in a moment.
Yeah. Although, did you all hear like on a very much more serious note that like as Abilene Christian was leaving the game, they were involved in a very serious bus crash?
No, I did not.
Yeah, with a drunk driver. So thank God everybody's okay. But it included head coach and a couple players, and they were all taken to the hospital. But everything's gonna be okay. But man, like talk about a sobering moment to level out week 1. That was, that was tough. I'm going to go out on a limb here. For those of you who haven't been around for a long time, and I don't remember what season this was, but it was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Do you remember the year where we went, for the love of God, somebody please beat Notre Dame already?
Yes. Yeah, I do. I remember nothing about the context, but yes.
No, it was one of those BS years. This is a clean podcast. Kids listen. It was one of those BS years where Notre Dame was just like winning stupid games.
Yep.
And they weren't playing anybody terribly good, but they were still undefeated.
Yep.
And so people were like, your schedule's trash. All you need is one loss and this is done. We don't need to think about you in the playoff. But they kept winning games. Was that it wasn't 2012. 2012 was when they got turned into paste in the national championship game. I think it was the year after that, the year that Pitt should have beat them in overtime. Was it that year or was this more recent?
It might have been a little bit more recently, because I seem to remember I was in this house when we were doing that. And that might have been 2019.
Right, so it was after that. No.
It might have been 2019.
I just remember I remember it was a recent year where like Notre Dame, please lose. I don't even want to think about what you're going to get beat up by. You're going to lose by 40 in the playoff. We know.
Right. And they did. They got trashed in the playoffs. So here's the thing. This is going to be another one of those years.
Yeah.
where we're all going
Yeah.
to be saying, for the love of God, somebody please beat Notre Dame already, because they passed their toughest test of the season Saturday night,
Yes.
and they got nothing after this. Absolutely nothing. And we are going to end up with an undefeated Notre Dame in the playoff that's going to get absolutely trounced by whoever they play in the first round. So
Mhm.
I'm officially declaring this another, for the love of God, please beat Notre Dame already season.
Okay.
USC LSU 100% lived up to its Vegas billing. That game was entertaining as heck. And hey, we were right. LSU does have a ground game. But USC had more big plays.
Yes.
USC
Although
had something they did not have in the last 2 years, which was a defense.
They had some defense, but that
They had
lack
a
of
lot more than they
a lot more than they've
usually
had.
do.
But
Yeah.
the lack of a run defense is going to come back and bite them in the Big Ten at some point, because they let LSU run all over them. Now, true, LSU's line is good, because we talked about that, and they've got that new stud back that everybody was predicting was going to be the new breakout star at LSU. So I get it. We kind of predicted that to happen. But I mean, that LSU offensive line isn't any better than some of the offensive lines they're going to face in the Big Ten. That's going to end up, if they can't shore up a run defense, that's going to bite them in the butt in the Big Ten at some point.
Here's the thing, though. LSU, for all the running on USC that they did, they only ran for 113 yards. They threw for 308, but they only ran for 113. Like, they were getting like some good plays. I mean, their yards per rush was 4.5, which is significant, and they ran the ball 25 times. But like, I think USC stood up to them enough that it could have been way worse. Like last year's USC, they give up 200, no problem.
Yeah.
The other thing they did that USC's defense, I think, did really, really well was their corners hung with LSU. And LSU continues to have crazy good receivers that like Ohio State caliber talent receivers.
Mm-hmm.
And USC's cornerbacks last year, again, would not be in the frame. They would not know where to go. They wouldn't even be close. And every single time, LSU's receivers had to make plays. They had to make catches. And I think that's the big difference, is that like USC was in there. They had hands, they were guarding, and LSU's receivers were just making plays. And there's only so much you can do as a defense when the receivers are just like going up and getting the ball away from the cornerback. There's only so much you can do, right? But they were contesting a lot more. In my mind, USC is going to be a way bigger problem for the Big Ten than I thought they were going to be this year. At least, and again, we are week one overreacting, everyone.
Yep.
Let's just call that what it is. We are week one overreacting.
What I'm not,
that's what you do.
What I'm not going to overreact about, though, and I will close my thoughts with this.
Yes.
Let's do a nice little shout out here to AJ, Rob Carter Jr.
Hell yeah.
Robert Morris, defensive back, with the interception of the year. If you have not seen that play, Google it.
That's the catch of the year. I don't care.
It is.
We're about to go play 15 more weeks of football. I don't care. That's the catch of the year. Let's go, Bobby Moe.
Let's go,
Bobby Carter.
And heck, they hung with Utah State. They were in that game late.
Yes.
They were ahead in that game when Carter picked off that pass. They were up 14-10. So maybe this is the year that Bobby Moe gets back on the map a little bit in the FCS and maybe makes some moves a little bit here. We'll see. It would be nice. It would be nice to have Bobby Moe have a relevant football team again.
Am I hearing reports of playoff Bobby Moe? Is that what I'm hearing? In my earpiece. I'm listening to my earpiece and it's saying playoff Bobby Moe is what I'm hearing.
Playoff.
Let's will it into being.
Let's will so we got so we're working on that one. We're working on Notre Dame loss.
Notre Dame.
And we're looking on Hugh Freeze. Okay.
Oh my God.
As long as I'm keeping track of these things.
Ooh, I will go to FCS playoff Bobby Moe. Like if Robert Morris hosts an FCS playoff game, I'm there. I don't care who's coming.
Okay. Yeah.
Like, ooh,
I'd do that.
Nice.
I would do that.
The other one that I want to talk about.
Yeah, please.
Folks, I want to point out that I think all three of us were wrong. I think we were all wrong in our playoff pick of Florida State. God bless.
Wow.
I audibly guffawed last night. I think it was like right towards the end of the game. And like, if Florida State gets a stop, there's the possibility they can start to turn something around. and Boston College rips off one for like 23 yards or something like that. And I'm like, oh no, oh no.
Did all three of
And
us pick
I,
Florida State to make the playoffs? Do I
yeah,
remember
we
that
did.
correctly?
Yeah,
Oh
we all
boy.
did. We
With
all did
hesitation.
that.
I
Wow.
hesitated, but I still put them in.
Oh,
Yep.
I believe I had them in my top four.
I don't
So,
recall hesitating. I just, jumped in with
yeah,
both feet.
this is the thing. One, what you saw against Georgia Tech in week 0
Mhm.
was like, like if they had just lost to Georgia Tech on the last second field goal and then come out and just like handled business against Boston College, we all move on.
Mhm.
No one
Right.
says a word.
Yeah.
Everybody goes, okay, the Ireland game was weird. It came down to a
Yeah.
last second field goal. Whatever. No, you got turned into mashed potatoes twice. Like you don't get your defense and your offensive lines are a slurry at this point. Like there's nothing really there, and everyone knows now. Everyone is going
Mhm.
to run. Thankfully, Florida State has a week off this week,
Mhm.
and then they get Memphis, and we'll talk about Memphis's style of offense and how that might be conducive to Florida State's chances in week 4. 3-3,
Great.
and then we could go from there. But there's still people talking about like Florida State can still make the playoff, and I'm like, I know that is mathematically still possible right now, but
Mhm.
no, they're not.
Okay. Okay.
No.
I wanted to discuss this anyway. And this is a good place to jump off into it. Carla, which program is in worse shape? Florida, which just got rolled by Miami, or Florida State, which already has 2 losses on the season.
Mhm.
Who's struggling more in your mind?
That's that's a I don't know.
Okay.
I think Florida State has better talent on the roster right now.
Hmm.
Like I think they have some better skill players in certain positions. I think Florida is still a bit of a mess. Um, I have slightly more confidence that Mike Norvell can turn things around
Okay.
as a coach than I mean, I asked my husband after the game on because I wasn't home, thank God,
Hmm.
during that game on Saturday afternoon. Um, and I asked him, I said, "How long does Napier have?" And he's like, "Oh, he's already gone." Like they've pretty much like the fan base has already said we're
Hmm.
done, right? And so now it's just a matter of time as to when it happens. And you have to think now. Welcome to the Florida hot seat, Mike Norvell.
Right.
I honestly, I think that's a legit thing. I don't think it's going to happen,
Hmm.
but I think he's going to feel the pressure
Hmm.
this year to try to turn things around and make the season respectable at this point. Um, I still think Napier's in bigger trouble. I think the program in Gainesville has more rebuilding to do than Florida State does
Okay.
at this point. But whew, it's not a good time to be all three. I mentioned this like the three biggest profile programs in the state
Hmm.
of Florida right now have coaches that have bullseyes on them at the
Hmm.
moment.
Hmm.
To really perform. Now Mario's turned things around with that big win on Saturday. I think that
That's a
changed the
start.
perception for
That's a
him.
start. Yes.
But as we've said every year, Miami loses a stupid game. Miami has become the Clemson of the ACC in certain ways,
Right.
where they pull a Clemsoning,
Yes.
right? Where and I'm waiting for that. Like I'm looking at the schedule, I'm like, it's going to happen again,
Hmm.
and they'll prove me wrong. Um, and if that happens again, you've got Cristobal, you've got Norvell, and you've got Napier all sitting there kind of, Napier's basically a lame duck at this point, but
Hmm.
it's just what's going to happen? What's going to happen in the
Uh-huh.
state of Florida? It's kind of a weird place. It's UCF and USF arguably have the best programs in Florida right now.
Hmm. Hmm. AJ, I have a different question for you.
Okay.
Florida State's clearly Florida State's problems start with the offensive and defensive lines, particularly defensive line. The talent they should have available, and two teams have parted them like the Red Sea. Um, how much of Florida State's problems do you attribute to GJU, who is now on his third program? Um,
He
we got a good look at him at Clemson. He had a year at Oregon, 1 year at Oregon State or two.
One.
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 Okay. Um,
He, I think the problem with DJ
Mhm.
is one, the offensive line is not doing him any favors
no, not at
Right.
all.
because they can't establish any running game to give him any breathing room. And it also seems to me like Florida State's offensive coordinator
Mhm.
is and their head coach Mike Norvell, who's very much an offensive dude. Neither one of them seems like terribly confident in his ability to throw the football.
There is that.
Um, and the
Um,
problem is, if you would like to know who the backup is, please open up your VHS tapes and pull up the 2023 ACC Championship game because the third stringer Brock Glenn is the backup. So
Mhm.
if you would like to see what the Florida State offense looks like with Brock Glenn, you can see last year where they had a better line. Um, so ooh,
Hi, Charlie.
there's one. I think they're stuck.
Mhm.
Um, Florida State is an interesting case because I think, contrary to Carla, I think like actual year wise, everybody had crazy low expectations on Florida.
Mhm.
Everybody looked at that schedule and looked at what the roster was and looked at
Right.
the job that Billy Napier was doing and said, "Nah, this ain't it." Like we're just we were all biding time. Florida State came in with some level of expectation of like, yeah, you brought in these transfers, you brought in all these people, you're going to do great. You're coming off an undefeated season. Yeah, you lost a bunch of people, but like you might do well. And you've
Mhm.
already got two ACC losses. Let's point that out. Those were both
yeah.
ACC in
Yes.
conference games. You were
Yes.
already 0-2 in conference. So, in my mind, this year, I think Florida State fans are much more disappointed
Mhm.
than they are. They got Florida fans got confirmation.
Right.
Florida
Yeah.
Florida State fans are sitting in some disappointment. I think the target on Mario is way smaller than it was just by going to the swamp and
Yes.
Yep.
swamping Florida. Like that's what Miami fans wanted to see for the last like 15 years.
Mhm.
I think the bigger challenge is going to be for somebody like DJU and Florida State is this is an experiment in how the portal can also burn you. A lot of Florida State's success last year was based on bringing in a ton of talent from the outside
Mhm.
to augment what the roster already had. This year, they tried to just replace a bunch of guys from the portal, and now it's not working. So Mike Norvell both is a success and failure story of the portal, the
Mhm.
boom and bust of the portal. And
Yeah.
I think this is also something that is a reminder. And that's not to say that Florida State stopped recruiting. They were also really great in recruiting. I think they had like a top 15, top 10
Mhm.
recruiting class. Like
Mhm.
it's not that they don't have guys. It's that the portal allows you to put talent in place and be able to allow your freshmen like DJ Lagway of Florida. They wanted Mertz to be the starter this year, so they didn't have to play Lagway
Yes.
immediately
Yes.
because they wanted him to learn like a college offense and like how the college experience works. The problem was that he got in the game, and even though he was playing against Miami's first string defense, he was doing way better than Mertz.
Yeah.
And like, I gotta be honest, there's in my mind, there's absolutely no reason to play Graham Mertz. None.
Um,
He's clearly not your
at,
quarterback.
at this point, I would have
Let
to agree.
Lagway cook,
Uh-huh.
and maybe he turns it around a little bit, or you don't play him and you maybe hold him on the bench. The problem is there's going to be a lot of people bidding for his services
Mhm. Mhm.
after this year in NIL, specifically some folks with oil money in Texas. And I'm talking about the ones in the southern part of the state, not the northern part of the state.
Right.
A&M wants a quarterback. They don't
Mhm.
have a
Mhm.
quarterback right now. They've got Connor Weigman,
Mhm.
and they were in on Lagway, and then Lagway went to Florida. They will secure the bag to go get him
Mhm.
if the Napier firing happens. So
Mhm.
these are all the same sort of things that happen. This is why recruiting still matters, even
Mhm.
in the transfer era, is that if you recruit a guy later, you can go get him. I think DJU maybe could turn it around, but it's going to require their line to get it together. And
Okay.
maybe they do over the course of over the course of the bye week, but you had
Okay.
all summer to get it right and you
Right.
didn't.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing I would ask you guys, on November 30th, I believe, uh, Florida State hosts Florida. I'm not sure that either team's going to be ranked, so I'm not sure this is a game that we were going to talk about at
No.
that point of the season.
I
Who's
will.
gonna who's gonna yeah, AT, and it
I will.
can be all yours. But what do you think right now? Who wins that game? AJ.
As shout out to Ryan Nanny at Celebrity Hot Tub on Twitter, who said that game is going to be two divorced dads racing their cyber trucks. Like, there's nothing good about that stupid game. Like, nobody cares. It's going to look so dumb. I mean, I feel like it's Florida State unless like Lagway and the Florida offense gets it together. But Napier's gone by then.
Mm-hmm.
Probably,
They're playing for an interim at that point.
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna
Where
go
is the game this year?
In Tallahassee.
It's in Tallahassee. Then
Yeah.
give me Florida State.
Okay.
Can we also talk about the fact that Saturday, October 26th, Miami hosts Florida State?
We can that one I'm fairly confident we will talk about. But yeah.
Ooh, Miami goes to USF on September 21st. We'll talk about them later.
There's your Clemsoning game right there.
No, your Clemsoning game is October 5th at Cal.
Ooh, okay.
So, that's right. That's an ACC conference game.
ACC conference game right there.
Play it at 10:30 at night. Do it for me. Play it at 10:30 at night.
Oh, we got to talk
on
to the scheduling guys.
Let's go.
This is the fourth thing we have to will into existence.
Okay. We're willing too many things.
I know we got to will this
in the
list.
right places.
We got to
play off Bobby Mo.
Down
okay,
a little bit.
Focus.
Okay. While we wait to see what happens with things in Florida, we have AJ here with us live.
Yes.
We have done this before, but not very often. The Group of Dark After 5 report done live. AJ, this is a mostly a late slate, right?
We got a big late slate.
Okay.
I'll say that.
Okay.
Kids, get your caffeine ready. We got a big late slate. But I do want to start with a game on Friday. Entirely because of a few reasons. Number one, it's Duke at Northwestern. It's on FS1 at 9 p.m. Eastern.
Did y'all get a look at Northwestern's? Did you see the stadium?
Just a beautiful stadium.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why you would move back to the other place.
A few reasons, but
I'm sure it's going to be nice and everything. but come on, that thing is gorgeous.
It's very good. Northwestern's favored by 2.5, but the fun index is 36.5. And a quick look at the forecast says that you're going to have 16-mile-an-hour winds and rain.
Mm-hmm.
So if you would like to see some real Big Ten ass football,
there you go.
You could say, I think you could say ass in front of kids, right?
If
you can't bleep this, okay.
Okay.
My only comment on this game is literally just yikes in all capital letters. So just watch the stupidest game possible. This is why, like, it gets windy in Ryan Field, which is like a mile off the lake.
Mm-hmm.
This literally goes onto the lake, and all I want is ball in lake. That's it. That's all I want.
If you guys did not see this, did not see this, go look up a picture. Go look up a video from the game against Miami, Ohio. It is on the water. It is literally on Lake Michigan. And a wind whipping off of that lake in November is going to be racing, to say the least.
I will also say that yes, the water is that blue. Lake Michigan can get that blue. It doesn't stay that blue, but it can get that blue. We're gonna move on to Saturday. By the way, Carla, Crappy, who's your pick in Duke Northwestern?
I'm going with home team.
Okay,
go Cats.
Northwestern. Carla, who you got?
Yeah, what the heck? Give me Northwestern at home. Why not?
Wow, 2-0 Northwestern. We'd love to see it. Saturday noon slate. ESPN. We've got the Power Cats of Kansas State going to Tulane. Kansas State favored by 10. Fun index is 48.5.
Okay.
This is Tulane's playing the first of back-to-back P4 teams. Quick, without looking at the schedule, who's the second one? They play them exactly next week away. They don't host them. It would be amazing.
No idea.
They played them last year.
Ole Miss.
It is Oklahoma. So they get K-State and Oklahoma back-to-back weeks to start the season. Tulane, why'd you do that? This is, again, we have to remember, it is week one. Okay? Is week one a fluke, or can we build off of this and who makes the jump? Tulane played Southeast Louisiana, aka the Daiquiri Cats. They sell daiquiris in their stadium. That's why they're called
Nice.
that.
Okay.
They won 52-0. K-State beat UT Martin 41-6. We have
Mhm.
no idea what either of these
No,
teams
we
are.
don't.
We still
There's no clue.
don't. Okay.
Mhm.
They looked nice. They looked good. Both of these teams want to run the football. Florida State cowers in disgrace. But I think QB play becomes a difference here. I'm saying Tulane upset alert over K-State. What do you guys say?
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Um,
I love my beloved Power Cats, so I think this game's gonna be really, really good. But I gotta stick with the purple and go Power Cats.
okay.
That's fair.
Okay. Again, the funny things happen in New Orleans.
That is true.
I'm gonna pick Tulane in this one.
All right. We got 2 for Tulane, 1 for K-State. Again at noon on ESPNU. Nooners on ESPNU are always good.
Mhm.
Do not at me. Troy at Memphis. Memphis favored by 18.5. The fun index is 57.5. They're not part of this game.
Mhm.
Eyes on Nevada this year. I was not expecting Nevada to be good, but they almost got SMU and they
Yes.
did get Troy. They beat Troy last week. So Nevada, okay, maybe coming along.
Huh.
Yeah, that's the thing that happened.
There's
Troy needs to bounce back,
Mhm.
right? Their defense has been the hallmark of the last few years under John Summerall, who is now
Mhm.
at Tulane. The defense did not register a sack or turnover last week
Ouch.
against Nevada. So, and their offense is doing a lot of the carrying.
Mhm.
This is not the Troy football that you've seen over the last few years. They are going to, it looks like they're going to have to score some points in order to win games. Memphis is still Memphis, though.
Yeah.
They still got a ton of athletes and they still want to throw the hell out of the football. They beat North Alabama handily. This is the most fun option of the day slate. I'll just say that out loud. I think Memphis gets the W and then heads to Tallahassee next week. So, Carla, what do you got?
Oh, I gotta go with the fellow TBR school. Give me Memphis.
Yeah, Memphis is the pick for this one.
There it is. Sorry, Troy, and all people
Sorry, Troy.
named Troy. 3:30 p.m. ESPN2, and we love these games.
Mhm.
It's Cal at Auburn. Okay, we will always cover a West Coast team playing an SEC team. We will always do this because it's so stupid every single time. Auburn's favored by 13. Fun index is 53.5. Auburn beat Alabama A&M by the score of 73-3. They pulled the starters at halftime. They were up 52-3 at halftime. It was fine. They were good. Cal played UC Davis. UC Davis is an FCS playoff team.
Mhm.
They pulled away in the second half, but they were down by 1 at that, or they were only ahead by 1 at the half.
Okay.
To UC Davis. I think Auburn gets a sizable win, but Cal raises the level of competition that Auburn is facing. Can we see something stupid in Jordan Hare?
I think it's too early in the season.
We're not ready for stupidity.
I root for stupidity. You always root for stupid, but like
absolutely.
If this was a night game in Jordan Hare, I think stupid things could happen. But a 3:30 kick, like Auburn's usually pretty good in that 3:30 slot at home. So I'll take Auburn at home, but maybe Cal will make it stupid for the first half. That would be fun.
That would be fun. But War Eagle.
Yeah. This feels like this feels like an Auburn win.
Yeah.
On ESPN Plus, the home of Jake Rose. Directional Kentucky rivalry. We've got Eastern Kentucky at Western Kentucky.
Ooh.
All right. Eastern Kentucky, I believe, held out of the MAC. Rumors swirling, gossip swirling that Eastern Kentucky was held out of the MAC by Western Kentucky or Conference USA. I'm getting my conferences mixed up. 7 p.m. There's no odds because this is FCS and FCS versus FBS. You degenerates, you don't get those. Eastern played Mississippi State last week. They lost 56-7. Western played Alabama and lost 63-0. So these two teams scored a grand total of 7 points and lost by a combined score of 119-7. So we're bringing the level of competition down, equalizing it out a little bit more, and it's a rivalry game because it's in state. This should be way more entertaining, and I'm going with the Hilltoppers here. I still think the Hilltoppers are a better team, but you got to throw the records out. This is a rivalry game.
Yeah.
Crappy, who you got?
I'm going to go with the Hilltoppers. I think they're going to have a little more bounce back than Eastern.
I
Carl.
I have a very hard time picking Western. Very, very hard time. If you don't know
We,
anything about that, that's
I,
like,
I
that's Middle's
understand.
arch rival right
I
now.
understand.
the 100
However,
miles of hate, y'all.
yes, the 100 mile rivalry, I think is what they're calling it now.
100 miles of
Um,
hate. We get it.
Come on.
yeah,
It's
I
way
know.
cooler when you say it that
It
way.
is way cooler with that name, but I understand why they changed it. But that being said, looking at the CUSA in general,
Hmm.
most of the preseason polls have Western as our greatest hope for beating Liberty. So I'll take the lesser of two evils here and say Western wins
Uh,
because we need the help to take down Liberty. So,
That's
oh God,
fair.
how tough that hurt.
are we
This
trying? Are we
this
trying to
is
will that into existence?
That's
Or
another thing we're trying to will into
okay,
existence.
all right.
yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about Liberty here in a moment. We're on to this late slate, and I just need you guys to know that I took a screenshot of it and I
Mhm.
sent it to Carl and Crappy,
Mhm.
and I said, take your nap early, get your caffeine up because we got a
Yes,
big night slate.
It's
I
yes.
have a lot
huge.
of man. I'm going to be on the ceiling. We're starting at 10 p.m. We got Northern Arizona at Arizona. Swing your axe Lumberjacks on ESPN. This is FCS FBS, so you don't get any odds. NAU is usually not a joke.
Mhm.
Okay. They're usually a very scary team. This year, much less so. They're projected to finish in the bottom half of the Big Sky Conference.
Mm.
And if you didn't watch Arizona play
Mhm.
football
I did
on
not.
Saturday night, which you didn't, what you missed was I'm going to mess up his first name, Tyrell McMillan.
Okay.
He is a 6'5" receiver for Arizona. He caught 10 balls for 340 yards and 4 touchdowns against New Mexico.
Holy crap!
Yeah, they just put the ball in his
Yeah,
area code and he
yeah.
caught it.
Mhm.
He is big. He
Mhm.
was juking dudes, and he is fun as heck to watch. And Noah Fafita is back as Arizona quarterback. He was the one who was the quarterback of last year's absurd fishbowl offense. He stayed at Arizona. He did not go to Washington to follow the school.
Mhm.
So Arizona is fun as hell. And this is a reminder of who's their offensive coordinator, Carla or Crappy. We talked about this 2 weeks ago. Went from a cold
Uh,
place to a warm place.
Dino Babers.
It is Dino Babers. So
yes,
you have Dino
yes.
Babers not having to worry about an entire program and just how do I get my big receiver football? That's it. That's all he's got to do. Arizona is fun as hell to watch. NAU is in for a long night. That's all
Mhm.
I'm saying. Give me the Bearcats to win. Crappy, who you got?
Cats all day, every day.
Bear
Yes,
down.
we're bearing down. Um, I'm going to skip ahead on one game and then I'm going to come back to this one.
Okay.
We've got Sacramento State at Fresno State. I had to dig up where this game was being broadcast because it was just not LSUfootball.net, the purest form of TV schedules on the internet for college football, did not have where this game was being played. So I was pretty sure
Wow.
like pay-per-view was going to be
Mhm.
where like I didn't know where this game was going to be. Turns out it's going to be on the MW, the Mountain West website, because it's
Okay.
probably a local broadcast. They're going to simulcast. It's free, so you can just watch it. Um, but Sacramento State almost pulled off the FCS FBS upset when they almost beat San Jose State. They were up going into the fourth quarter. Things were
Mhm.
looking up for Sacramento State, and then everything fell apart. Fresno State. We already talked about how they went to Ann Arbor, and they also had a painful Saturday night. Less so getting sat on by Michigan, and more like being so close to ruining 100,000 people's time,
Yes.
which would have been hilarious.
Yes.
Fresno State looking at Ohio State going beat Michigan and Michigan. What? Like it's hard. Anyways, they put the scare into Michigan. They finally pulled away and they won 30-10. But this one should be a lot closer. I still think Fresno wins. Carla, who you got?
Yeah, I'll take Fresno in this one. I would love to
Okay.
see Sacramento win it, but I think Fresno wins.
Fresno once again looks to be a respectable program. We're gonna go play anybody. At this point, I would think Sacramento State is not going to be up for that challenge. So give me Fresno.
No, I still see Sacramento State making a run in the Big
Okay.
Sky, but
Right.
not winning this one.
After this.
I'm coming back at 10 p.m. because I need you all to set your TVs to 10 p.m. on Fox because we've got ourselves a proper after dark stupid game.
Mhm.
We have Texas Tech at Wazoo.
Ooh. Okay.
Washington State is favored by 2, and the fun index is 65.5. This is proper after dark stupid. Okay. It's in Pullman.
Mm-hmm.
So it's extra stupid. Like
Okay.
it's got like a +5 to stupid on this game. Okay. Texas Tech had to stop Abilene Christian on a 2-point conversion attempt in overtime to not lose their home opener.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. That's the level of not defense we're playing. Okay. Texas Tech gave up 600 yards of offense to Abilene Christian.
Oh man.
Wazoo beat Portland State by 40, but gave up 450 yards of offense in the process. Defense is off, y'all. Offense is only. Fireworks Factory is on fire. Okay. This is on Fox, on national television, and Wazoo is bringing Pac-12 After Dark back single-handedly. And by the way, they are still in the Pac-12, and according to ESPN, they are currently behind Oregon State alphabetically in the Pac-12 standings.
Okay. I was going to ask, it was
if you go to
point differential
if you go
or
to
something.
no, I
Okay.
mean, it's going to come down to the one game they play against each other.
Yeah.
The conference, it's the midseason conference championship game.
Mm-hmm.
By the way, if you do go to Oregon State or Washington State's team page on ESPN, and you know how on the right side it'll have like the conference standings.
Yes.
It shows Pac-12 for the two of them.
That's awesome.
We salute that. Carla, who do you have in this game?
Oh, come on. It's Pullman After Dark. Give me Wazoo.
Wazoo, absolutely.
Fireball it. Crappy's thinking about where you got Crappy.
It Wazoo. Yes.
Oh,
yeah, it's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Fireballs for the gang. I'm skipping this game at 10:30. Liberty's playing New Mexico State. New Mexico State's lost 2 games already. Nope. We don't need to. We are rooting Liberty. Please lose to somebody. 10:30 p.m. Again, as I said earlier, we will always preview an SEC West Coast game. Mississippi State's going to Tempe to play Arizona State at 10:30 at night. We've got Arizona State favored by 6.5. Fun index is 59.5. This is the first of 2. Arizona State will play in Starkville next year. Arizona State last year was so banged up that they were playing Cam Scatabo at quarterback as like a backup / like, give your 4th string quarterback a break. They have a fully functional quarterback this year, and they beat Wyoming by 50. So they're back. Arizona State looks good and stupid, and Arizona looks good and stupid, and the Territory Cup is now rising very quickly to the top of the list of must-watch at the end of the year. I think Arizona State is going to beat Mississippi State.
Okay. And
they're going to get a win for the Pac-12, still in my heart, over the SEC. Crappy, who you got?
I am going to go with the Sun Devils. Just the benefits playing at home in a what should be the Pac-12 After Dark game.
Carla, who do you have?
Yeah, I mean, forks up in this game. I really thought Wyoming was good last year. Wyoming put scares in a lot of teams. We talked about that game last week, and I really thought Wyoming was going to hang with Arizona State, if not completely pull off the upset. Oh boy, that didn't happen at all. Arizona State is back. And man, if they were still in the Pac-12, they would have messed some stuff up. I don't know whether they're going to be able to do the same amount of damage in the Big 12, just because of the different means of play. We miss you, Pac-12, but I think Arizona State gets the win here.
Okay. Okay.
Man, I'm gonna miss it all year and forever, really. We got on CBS Sports Network, the Network of Champions, Oregon State at San Diego State. Oregon State favored by 6. Fun index is 55.5. Oregon State dispatched very handily Idaho State. Oregon did not do so hot with Idaho. Okay.
Nope.
No.
Oregon did win, which means they won the Idaho-Oregon War 2-0. San Diego State couldn't find their offense for the entire first half. They were down 6-3 in a true chef's kiss Big Ten score to Texas A&M Commerce at home. It's the commerce you have to put on there. Otherwise, it sounds like, you're only down 6-3 to Texas A&M Commerce. They rallied in the second half. They ended up winning by like 40. That's not going to work again this week. And I think Oregon State, again, continues to prove. This is, I believe, a weird version of the Oregon State schedule. They're scheduled to play a bunch of Mountain West teams, but San Diego State was an out-of-conference game they had already scheduled.
Mhm.
So I think they got added on. That doesn't count as a conference game or whatever. But that's on CBS Sports Network. Carla, who you got?
Give me the Beavs.
Beavs. Go Beavs. Chainsaws
Beavs.
up.
Beavs. Go Beavs.
Beavs. And finally, at 11 p.m. Eastern,
Okay.
Utah State at USC. USC's favored by 28.5. Crappy, what channel is this game on?
That's got it. Well, the Pac-12 network. No,
Mm-mm.
I don't know. Where is it game?
It is on the Big Ten Network. You wanted this. You all wanted this. You wanted your stupid helmet games. That
There
means
it
you
is.
get Utah State Big Ten at 11 p.m. at night games. Okay. This is how this works. You don't get one without the other.
Right.
Okay. USC's
True.
playing
You're true.
Oregon. USC's also playing Sacramento State on a Thursday night on the Pac-12 Network. That's how this goes. This is all part and parcel. You asked for this. Okay.
Got it. Yes. We did.
Robert Carter, again, I can't stop thinking about spinning one-handed catch. That was amazing. But USC showed defense against LSU. Utah State is not LSU. They're at home. I expect Utah to roll. But again, you asked for this 11 p.m. kick on the Big Ten Network. Carla, who you got?
I got to take USC in this one. I just, if Bobby Moe can hang with Utah State, I mean, I love my alma mater, but like the difference in play there, not comparable. USC rolls.
I was impressed that USC has found a semblance of a defense. That's a huge change from last year. So Trojans, yes.
And by the way, 7 p.m. on Saturday, under the lights and moon, my parents' alma mater, Edinburgh, playing at Robert Morris. RMU by 1,000,000. Let's go, Bobby Moe.
Ooh, there we go. AJ, thank you once again for the group of 5 After Dark report.
You got it right.
It's fun. Yeah, I did. I was actually reading it correctly that time.
Group of Dark After 5.
We have some other games to talk about. And these are the big boys. And for the most part, we've got a couple other games that are sneaking on there just because they're interesting. But let's start. I will tell you this. If you didn't catch this from AJ's picks, caffeination is going to be important. A lot of evening stuff that we're going to be dealing with.
Stretch.
Yes.
Caffeinate.
Yes.
Don't forget your waters.
Yeah, absolutely. That is going to be a very important thing. We start at noon. Hi, Charlie. We start Big Nude, Fox, number 3, Texas, at number 10, Michigan. Texas is favored by a touchdown. The AJ Fun Index is a Midland's 44.5 points. AJ, what do you see here?
Michigan did not do much to impress.
No.
Texas did a lot to impress. They looked to be as operational as they were to end the season when they almost made the national championship game. Hook 'em.
Carla, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this when we were breaking down the playoff that Texas looks to be a legit contender and potentially, after watching what we saw, and again, this is week 1 overreaction, right? But potentially being the primary team to contest Georgia for an SEC title. I mean, when you're looking at the teams in the SEC right now, I mean, is Bama back? We don't know for sure. But we do know that Texas looked real darn good last week, and Michigan looked the same way that they did most of last season, which is we were unconvinced for the entirety of last season.
Like they had it in third gear all year. Like they're like, why are we shifting up?
Right. And they look like that on Saturday, and it almost bit them because they almost didn't turn it on in enough time to be able to win that football game. You cannot do that against Quinn Ewers.
Nope.
You absolutely cannot do that against Quinn Ewers. And Quinn Ewers is not going to be intimidated one iota by playing in the big house.
No.
Not at all. Yeah, give me the Longhorns here. And I think they cover easily. I actually think that Texas wins this game very comfortably in the fourth quarter.
Okay.
That this game will not be in doubt in the fourth quarter. That's just the way that I'm reading it because Texas looks to be a legit national title contender this year, and Michigan is the that we did all of last season. Give me the horns on the road in the big house.
We're going to find out about Michigan. I know fans of the team up north seem to be taken aback that their defending national champions aren't being taken seriously this year. But as we're going to see, Quinn Ewers and the Longhorns are going to come in Ann Arbor and win that game, and I think cover as well. That's and then we'll see what Michigan's able to scrape together for the rest of the season at 3:30 on CBS. It's the Cy-Hawk Bowl. Iowa State.
Nope, that's not what it's called.
I know
that's not what it's called.
I know. I just made up the name. Iowa State at number 21, Iowa. The Hawkeyes are favored by a perfect line for this game, 2.5 points. The AJ Fund Index, totally appropriate 35.5, which has got to be a candidate for the low AJ Fund Index for the season. But we will discuss that as it comes. Carla, what do you think about this?
Okay, I need everybody to sit down and realize that Iowa scored 40 points on offense last week.
I know.
They sure did.
That's a thing. Yes, it was against Illinois State, okay? But like the Hawkeyes actually had like a really solid day offensively. And when was the last time we were able to say that? Cade McNamara, yes, still the quarterback at Iowa. What is it with Big Ten quarterbacks that just like linger on for 14 years? Never go away. Like McNamara's line, like legit good. 21 to 31, 251, 3 touchdowns. Right? Caleb Johnson had a good day on the ground, $119 and 2 TDs. And Reese Vanderzee, who's just fun to watch when he's able to like get some space. 5 receptions, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns, and they held defensively an FCS opponent scoreless, which is what a Power 4 team is supposed to do when you play an FCS team, right? Iowa looked good for Iowa, right? The Cyclones, I had them on upset alert because we talk about this. You never play a Dakota, right? And Iowa State played North Dakota, and they avoided a scare, beat them 21 to 3. Most of Iowa State's offense, though, came through the air. The ground game was essentially non-existent. And North Dakota actually owned the time of possession, and it wasn't close. Like North Dakota had the football for 38 minutes in that game, right?
Right.
That being said, the game's in Iowa City. Give me the Hawkeyes in this game, and I think I think the margin is wider. I think the Hawkeyes cover fairly easily, but it's still going to be a low. I'm not saying that like Iowa's going to put 40 points up on the board again, but I think Iowa wins this game fairly comfortably at home.
Okay, AJ.
I think the problem that we had this past week, and we're like, when was the last time Iowa scored all these points? Kirk Ferentz was suspended. He wasn't allowed in the stadium, so he couldn't say knock it off. He couldn't say stop it.
We're going to punt.
Brian's not there anymore, right? Brian's not there anymore. He was over in Maryland. They scored 50 points on UConn. Like, so it's not his fault anymore. I think Kirk's back. And that's why the fun index is set so low. That we're like, no, Kirk's back. This is a 20-point game tops from either team. This game is always stupid. This game is always gross. There is nothing like you could set your watch to how stupid this game is. Like this is a 13 to 9.5 somehow. They score half a point. They find some new rule in the rule book where they've scored a half a point. Okay. I feel like, Iowa looked good. Like they looked good. Last year, they scored the Iowa touchdown where they scored 2 safeties and a field goal to score 7 points against South Dakota State. This year, they put 40 on Illinois State. I mean, there's a distinct difference in caliber between South Dakota State and Illinois State. But hanging 40 on an FCS team is what you're supposed to do. Yeah, give me Iowa and the cover.
Okay.
Not the over-under. That's still an under, baby. But they'll cover. Like if they win 13 to 10, they still cover.
They do.
I think they win 14 to 3.
14 to 3. Okay.
Ooh.
Okay.
Crappy, we got.
There will be punting. There will be much punting, and the punts will be celebrated as though they were touchdowns. because in the state of Iowa, punting is winning. However,
we do have some
you do.
breaking news as of 6 hours ago. This
Yeah,
is
please.
breaking as it's about to be. Iowa State, one of their starting linebackers, is out indefinitely after leg surgery. Caleb Bacon, he of the ham and
Ham and
bacon.
bacon? Yes. Yes.
Yes, he is out indefinitely. So you will also be out of a
Ah.
starting linebacker on the Iowa State
Mhm.
side. So yeah, that cover's looking a little bit more healthy.
It is, and it's an interesting point to be briefly serious. Two of Iowa's touchdowns were broken long runs
Mhm.
in the game on Saturday. So that is a point of emphasis for them. That and Cade McNamara's newfound arm. Um, it's not going to be pretty, but the Hawkeyes are going to win this at home. The offensive onslaught continues, and they will beat the Cyclones on Saturday at 7:30 on the National Broadcasting Company. We have this is an unranked game. This is not something we usually do, but we're perhaps falling into the the hype machine of both of these teams, because they both have some of this going on. This is Colorado at Nebraska. I wrote down none of the lines for this game, and I'm not sure why I did that. I'm gonna find that stuff right here.
I'm seeing Nebraska favored by 7.5. Fun index is 58.5.
58. That's respectable. Okay. Okay.
Mhm.
Um. Let's see who went first. AJ, what do you think?
This is a season setter
Hmm.
for
Mhm.
both of these teams.
I agree.
Colorado escapes North Dakota State.
Yes.
North Dakota State was whooping them. There was that the Colorado lines are still suspect. Um, and North Dakota State was able to put a hurt on them, and Colorado was able to escape because Travis Hunter is still Travis friggin' Hunter, and Shador Sanders is still Shador Sanders. They're still
Yep.
both incredible athletes. Nebraska, meanwhile, I am very interested to see where they go. They won 40-7 over UTEP. UTEP is not exactly a barn burner of a team.
No.
We love you, UTEP. We hope you win. We hope you go to a bowl again. But this sets the stage because after Nebraska, after this game for Colorado, you have a whole lot of nothing until Kansas State. You have Colorado State, Baylor, and UCF.
Hmm.
Nebraska plays effectively the bottom half of the Big Ten until they play Ohio State in early November.
And I
So
would remind everybody that AJ in our first show of the season brought up the possibility that Nebraska is undefeated going into that game, which
correct.
looks pretty good.
This either sets up Nebraska being like, oh, hype is real. Matt Rule's got it together. Folks, we are back. 90, it feels like 95 again. And Colorado falls off the deep end. Or they beat Nebraska, who people think could have been 7-0 going into the Ohio State game, and the hype train goes right off the rails again.
Yeah.
And theoretically, Colorado being in the Big 12, they could make it to the middle of October when they're playing Kansas State and Arizona.
Mhm.
Sorry. I just got a little woozy trying to remember that all three of those teams are in the same conference. Right. So, those games are later. They play UCF and Baylor and Colorado State. Like there's time for the hype to ramp like it
Mhm.
did last year.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I think this is the tone setter. I think Nebraska wins. I think it's going to be close. I think this is going to be a great game. I'm going to put my eyeballs on it because it's hard to turn away from Travis Hunter and Shador Sanders, but
Yeah, for sure.
this should be a back and forth fireworks factory. Give me the Huskers.
Okay. Okay. Carla.
Yeah, it's a good point about it being a season setter, right?
Mhm.
A tone setter for us this season. So, like last week, like the Huskers' offense is fine. They were adequate against UTEP. They did what they
Mhm.
needed to do. But like, did you see that Colorado defense on Thursday night?
No,
Yeah,
was
because
there?
I didn't either
Okay.
because it didn't
What?
really exist, right?
There was supposed to be a defense.
There was supposed to be defense. The Buffs gave up nearly 450 to an FCS team. Um, that's not going to work against most of the Power Four when you have a defense like that, right?
Right.
And like you said, I mean, yeah, Shador is amazing. but Colorado put up 504 total yards, 445 were through the air, right? So it's Shador or bust,
Mhm.
which I get when you have Hunter and Shador, like that makes sense to me. But like they're a one trick pony. You just got to stop that trick, right? Now, yes, again, the Huskers are playing UTEP, different level of playing here, but like defensively, they held UTEP to 205 total yards and just 150 through the air. Now,
Mhm.
again, different level of competition, but that's a pretty solid defensive effort for a first go of the
Right.
season, right? So here's the thing. If Nebraska can offer any sort of speed bump here, they're going to win this game at home.
Mhm.
But if the Husker D is overrated based on like right now they look like we think they might be good.
Mhm.
We don't know. It was UTEP. It's week 2. If the Husker D isn't as good as it looks like they might be, Shador's just going to light them up all night,
Mhm.
right? So we're going to find out. It really depends on the Husker D. If the Husker D is legit, Nebraska can win this game. Absolutely can win this game at home. And I love the fact that this is an old Big 12 rivalry, old Big 8 rivalry.
Yes, this is old Big 8 rivalry.
That is being played this year. So, this game, a lot of people have had this game circled even before we had the Shador and Travis Hunter show, right?
Mhm.
Like this was a game that people have been anticipating for a really long time. Give me the Huskers at home here. I'm gonna lean and think
Okay.
I'm gonna err on the side of Nebraska's defense being the real deal.
Mhm.
Go Corn.
Okay. Okay. In the interest of brevity, Nebraska plays defense. Colorado does not. That's going to be the difference as the Huskers move to 2-0. Go Horn. At 7:30 p.m. on ABC, we have number 14 Tennessee at number 24 NC State. The Vols are favored by 8. The AJ Fun Index is a respectable 60.5 points. Carla, what do you think?
It's the Duke's Mayo Classic.
Yes. Without, I don't think coaches get Mayo dumped on them for this one. I think
No,
that's
they don't
just
get
reserved for the bowl
it's
game.
Mayo's only for the bowl. They save
Okay,
that for the
that's
bowl
fair.
game.
That's totally fair.
But it still means that there's the possibility of stupid in this game, which I love. And
Yes.
technically it's a neutral site game, but not
No.
really. So NC State let Western Carolina hang around a bit too much last week.
Uh-huh.
Grayson McCall, yep, that guy. Remember him? He had a decent debut for the Wolfpack, 318, 3 touchdowns, a pick. Okay, a pretty solid
Mhm.
debut there. But if you pay attention to any of the local sportscasters here in Tennessee, the Vols have found their quarterback in Nico. Everybody is sold
Mhm.
that Nico is the guy in Knoxville. And while I admit, yes, he had an excellent debut. He looked really good on Saturday.
Yes.
It was against Chattanooga.
Yes.
Like the mocks are okay, but like not the same level of competition. So can we temper expectations just a little bit for the time being?
No, we can't do that.
No, because it's
No,
overreaction week 2.
that's right.
That being said, it does look like the Vols have the pieces
Mhm.
here. Crappy, you picked them to be in the playoff.
Mhm.
And so I think I like the Vols on the road here because I agree. I do think the Vols have the pieces together. I don't think they're going to run away with this game, but I think they're going to win comfortably.
Mhm.
But it's not going to be a beat down by any stretch, even though this game is neutral site-ish, but technically kind of a home game for the Wolfpack here.
Right.
Give me the Vols. That hurts.
Okay.
But give me the Vols.
Okay. AJ, what do you think?
Neither of these fan bases wish to be perceived. They don't want you to pay attention. They're like, no,
That's
go
true.
away. Go away. You come back in November. Do not perceive us right now.
Mhm.
You will give us feelings. Yeah, this is absolutely your big game of the week. It's in Charlotte, which is actually like a good midpoint between these two teams.
Yeah.
Tennessee,
Yeah.
Knoxville to Charlotte, and Raleigh to Charlotte. Yeah, Knoxville to Charlotte is a little bit
Yeah,
further,
a
but
little bit, but not much.
the Vols are just better, just fully better than NC State. This is a game that both of these teams don't necessarily need, right? It's an out of conference game. Right. It's not necessarily playing them out, but a win here puts a nice tick mark on the board for ranked win. I think the Vols are just too much. I know that, it's overreaction week 2. I know, but Nico was always going to be that dude. He was a big talent on the, from the high school, recruiting. He was a big get for Josh Heupel in Tennessee. He proved it very quickly in week one. It will be very interesting to see how he handles an NC State team with better talent, but I still think that the Vols have it. But yeah, none of these fans want you to look at them. Please don't look at them.
Don't without calling attention to anybody. I mentioned in passing during week 0 show that Tennessee was really intriguing to me for this season, and last weekend's game went a long way to reinforce that. Nico Amalieva, right?
Ayamalieva.
Okay, I was close. And it doesn't matter because from this point forward, he shall be known by me just as Nico. He threw for 314, 3 touchdowns. He looks to be a perfect fit for Josh Heifel's vertical passing offense. And in Raleigh, the Wolfpack struggled to beat a directional Carolina. And it's not all Nico. Tennessee's front four is going to hassle Gavin McCall. He's not going to be pleased about the pressure that he's going to see, and Tennessee is going to win this game on the road-ish. 8 p.m. ACC Network, Appalachian State at number 25, barely hanging on Clemson. Clemson is favored by 17. The AJ Funded Index is 53.5 points. AJ, what do you think?
Oh, no, Clemson. Oh no. You listen. I don't think anybody was like watching that Clemson Georgia thing going like, "Ooh, what if Clemson?" No. We set the expectations real low that Clemson was probably going to get their butts kicked in. I didn't think that much. There was a point where there were people joking that Kirby didn't want to open up the playbook against Clemson, which is a true hater level of disrespect.
Yes.
And now you get to go play App State, and they love these games. I don't care how bad App State is at any given point. When they get to play one of the name brand schools from the Carolinas, Clemson, UNC, NC State, Wake Forest, when they get to play you, they're gonna kill you. So, yeah, App keeps this way closer than that spread. I still think Clemson pulls away and wins it, but there's gonna be some villains in the hills out there in Clemson,
in Boone, and down in Clemson. Carla, what do you think?
I mean, my heart is with App State 100% in this game,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I legit think that they can. I legit think that they can win this game. Do I think they will? I can't pick it. I can't.
Right.
Because the game is at Clemson, right? Like, if you had that wacky thing where they were playing in Boone, which has happened before, the Carolina team has played in Boone. If this game were in Boone, I 100% would pick the Mountaineers here. But App State is as good as ever this year, predicted to win the Sun Belt, or at least be one of the top teams in the Sun Belt this year. They are going to give Clemson fits. And it really depends on how that Clemson team responds after last week's beatdown. Yeah. If they can bounce back against a team that they really don't want to play.
No.
Right? And it's all about the reaction. If App State keeps this close through the third quarter, flip this game on. Because I think App State can pull this game out in the fourth quarter. If they're within 1 score heading into the fourth quarter, find the ACC network. And turn it on. Because
listen, you're gonna have to move Eastern and Western Kentucky to another screen. I understand. But you might want to put on App State and Clemson.
Yeah.
Gotta keep an eye on that one.
Crappy, who do you have?
Clemson's the pick, but I wrote this down. But if it's close going into the fourth quarter, people, all bets are off, because the Mountaineers have this history of doing things in stadiums against opponents that they should not do.
Thanks for reminding me of that UNC App State game in Boone where they went back and forth in the fourth quarter. Both teams scored like 40 points in the fourth. Oh, man, that was a great day.
That was fantastic.
What a great day. I want to do that again.
Beautiful day.
Let's do it again. Let's do it again this Saturday at 8 p.m. Why not?
We can do that. The game at 10 p.m. on Peacock has a similar kind of feel. Boise State at number 7, Oregon. The Ducks are favored by 19. The AJ Fund Index is 61.5. But man, Oregon just looked flat last weekend. AJ, what do you think?
I'm sorry. You struggled to beat regular Idaho. And now you're going to get Idaho's big brother.
Right.
Sorry. To all the Idaho fans and Boise State fans, I did not mean that in any sort of rivalry way. I know you two hate each other deeply. Okay. It's just that Boise State's in the FBS and y'all went back down to the FCS. The Kibbe Dome is a wonderful place, and the Boise State's blue field is a delight and will always be the history of college football.
Yes.
That said, Oregon, don't do that. Don't do that. I know what you're thinking. Don't do that. You want to play this game and you want to think that you're just going to roll over them.
Mm-hmm.
Dan Lanning is making those boys do wind sprints right now. It is 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and he is making those boys do wind sprints up and down the seats in Autzen because, buddy, they looked terrible against Idaho. Idaho made them look super mortable.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Boise
State is a better team. I just want to point out one player. Was it Ashton Jeanty, who was the running back for Boise State, who scored 6 touchdowns.
Yes. Yeah.
To the point where the best defense that could be mustered by Georgia State against him was let him get tired and cramp up. That was the best thing they could do. He literally cramped up on the 6th touchdown and then got taken out of the game, and they were able to get a couple stops. That was it. They had to let cramps take over. So Oregon, I am begging you, you might want to get it together, or this is going to be a real sad time for you. And USC might be the team out of the West that gives everybody in the Big Ten fits. But we can carry on here. Give me the Ducks, but I hope Boise makes this fun.
Okay, Carla.
Might I propose to the bench, AJ in particular here, that this could potentially qualify as the second Pac-12 After Dark game. The fun index here is high.
Yes.
And did you check that box score from the Georgia Southern Boise game?
Right.
I did.
1,000 total yards offense between those two teams.
Yeah. Here's the problem,
total
though.
yards of offense.
Here's the problem. Oregon did a lot of offense last week.
They
had nothing to show for it. I want to give a shout out to the Sickos committee for providing this wonderful analogy. It was the sauteed spinach offense. You put all that spinach in the pan, and at the end of it, you have nothing, right? Because it cooks out all the moisture, right? It's the sauteed spinach offense. You did all of that, and you came out with 14 points. Like, I think they had like 450 yards passing or some nonsense like that, and they had 14 points. It was, where did it go? So that's the sort of thing that Oregon needs to finish drives.
Yes.
They need to finish with points, and they were finishing with punts. And while they were doing all this up and down the field, they weren't actually doing anything with it. Can they do more of it with Boise State? Does Boise State run through them like Idaho kind of did and actually put something on the table here? Yeah. So yes, I will give this also a bonus Pac-12 After Dark, which means, by the way, those are happening at the same time. Texas Tech, Wazoo, and oh man, TV, I'm really sorry, but you're gonna get warm. I'm sorry. This is just gonna happen. Okay, I love you.
So my thought here though is you're absolutely right that Oregon didn't finish drives, right? And Oregon had, put up stupid offensive numbers and didn't finish. The one thing that I will say is that because they couldn't finish drives, that's why Idaho hung around, because they held the Vandals to just over 200 yards of total offense. So the Oregon defense is not as bad as they appeared. It was because the offense couldn't finish the drives, right? Which Dan Lanning in his post-game presser made the comment that there's, quote, room for improvement.
That's not the phrase you want to hear as an Oregon player, y'all.
Exactly.
Because that room for improvement is your legs in that field. That's it.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not the phrase you ever want to hear your head coach say. I think Lanning's going to have this team ready. But dang, this game's going to be a whole lot of fun. I think the Ducks kind of finally figure out how to finish some drives here. I mean, they have a known entity at quarterback in Dylan Gabriel. They're going to figure this out. Like, he knows how to play the position. He knows that offense. they're gonna figure this out, and I think they get the win against Boise. But man, this is gonna be. You're right. TVs are gonna get real warm at 10 o'clock Eastern on Saturday night.
I just the thing about finishing drives for Oregon is the biggest deal. Dylan Gabriel was 41 of 49 for 380 yards and 2 TDs. I mean, that's a silly good stat line. But and it does not explain why they could only muster, I think, 24 points against Idaho. But for defensive lapses, general impression that the team was just going through the motions against the Vandals. I will say the same thing that I said about the previous game. If it's close going into the fourth quarter, make sure you're watching. This should be a game that Oregon should win. But if it's tight, and there's some doubt in the minds of the Ducks, make sure you're watching. Boys and girls, you can hear the Carla and Crappy Show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and a variety of other podcasting hosts. You can watch us on YouTube or the show's Facebook page. As you may recall from a year ago, you can read us on our Substack. If you like us, please subscribe, rate, and review. If you don't, mind your own damn business. And be sure to come back next week when none of us will pick Florida State to make the playoffs. Guys, final thoughts. AJ, what do you think?
Teams who are suing the ACC are 0-3.
True. That's true.
Don't sue your conference saying that it's not good enough for you and then get your ass kicked twice. Don't do that.
Excellent advice. Excellent advice. Carla.
This has been legal advice with AJ. I am not a
lawyer. We should know that AJ is not an attorney.
Yes.
And any advice that he gives should not be construed as legal advice. Carla, what are your final thoughts?
Two very, very quick things here. Obviously, we didn't talk about Penn State this week because they play Bowling Green at home, in the comfy confines of Beaver Stadium. So, if you want to check in on the Knits this week, they are on at noon, on the Big Ten Network because there's nothing else going on. There are no other big games happening at noon on Saturday. My Blue Raiders are on the road. At number 6, Ole Miss. You can watch us on national television. That game's at a weird time. It's at 4:15. That's a 4:15 Eastern kick on the SEC network.
Yeah.
Very odd. However, if you would like to see Coach Mason on the national stage, you will get that opportunity on Saturday. Here's the one thing I will say to follow up. I talked about the middle game and the rain and all that. The one concern that I have after that game is something that we saw a lot last year from middle, and something they're going to need to work on if they're going to compete in the CUSA this year, is second half defensive lapses. Like that was a problem consistently last season, and what happened on Saturday was the exact same thing. It looked like middle was going to cruise through that game. I was listening to the game on the radio while I was driving home. They were up like 21-3 at one point. It looked like it was going to be an easy deal done.
Right.
And I right before I went to bed, I was like, wait, Tech's ahead? It's the same thing that Jacksonville State did. It's the same thing that Liberty did. It's the same, right? Like it's all these teams that middle was in the game. They had a lead and they let it slip away in the second half. That's going to have to be fixed if middle is going to make a run in the CUSA this year. They got a tough road to hoe on on Saturday down in Oxford, but yeah, you can catch them on national television. So go Blue.
Okay.
We don't miss.
Okay. We're good with that. Ohio State has a directional Michigan, which I of course will be watching. The game that I'm actually more curious about, OU is hosting South Alabama at home. That game is a 6:00 kick. I believe it's on ESPN Plus. That's a tough game. We're going to find out. In fact, South Alabama is favored by 1.5. So we're going to find out about the Bobcats this weekend, I think. And I would be remiss if I did not mention that your number 23, Carnegie Mellon Tartans, open their season Saturday at Teal College up in Greenville, Pennsylvania. Let's go Tartans. And guys, that is our show for this week. AJ, thank you for joining us live. This was a lot of fun. Carla, thank you as always.
Yep, thanks as always.
And guys, caffeinate, get ready. There's no excuse for not watching into the evening this weekend, because that's when all the fun is going to happen. Um, and so yeah, let's thank you guys for watching, for reading, for listening, and cheers, everybody. We hope you enjoy the games, and we'll see you back here next week.